Good morning, dear students. This is the revision of Chapter 5, Coal and Petroleum. So, let's move to the explanation of Chapter Coal and Petroleum in brief. Now, what is coal and petroleum? Coal and petroleum are sources of energy that are non-renewable. Students, what is non-renewable? Non-renewable, or we can say exhaustible resources, are the sources of energy which get consumed up quickly and cannot be regained in a short period of time. These resources are limited in number. They take a long time, rather millions of years, to form in nature. Or we can say they were made in the nature a long time before and they will finish after long time use. Natural resources like coal, petroleum, natural gas and wood are such examples of exhaustible resources, or we can say non-renewable resources. Okay. Now, coal. Students, before we explain coal, firstly we have to know about fossil fuels. What is fossil fuels? Fuels are substances which on combustion produce energy in the form of heat. For example, wood, coal, petroleum and natural gas are fuels. They release energy on burning in the form of heat. Coal, petroleum, and natural gas are formed from fossils and hence are called fossil fuels. Now question arises that what is fossils? Fossils are dead remains of living organisms trapped between layers of rocks. They are formed by the slow decomposition of dead plants and animals which had got buried deep under the surface of earth or ocean beds millions of years ago. Let us study how these fuels are formed in nature and how we obtain them and use them to fulfill our needs. So, students, come on the topic that is coal. Students, you must have seen a chula that is used to cook food in rural areas. It uses coal as fuel. So, coal is a kind of rock called sedimentary rock. It is combustible and black in color. It is mainly composed of carbon. Coal was used as fuel in steam engine and also it is used in thermal plants to produce electricity. Or we can say, in other words, coal is a fossil fuel created from the remains of plants that lived millions of years ago. It is considered as a non-renewable source of energy because it takes too much time to form. Okay. Now, what is coal made upon, or we can say formation of coal. Most of our coal was formed about 300 to 500 million years ago. At that time, much of the earth was covered by swampy forests filled with giant ferns and club mosses. As these plants and trees died, then their remains sank to the bottom of the swampy areas. After that, they kept accumulating in layers and eventually formed a soggy, dense material called peat. With the passage of time, sand, clay, and other mineral matter got accumulated over them and compressed them and squeezed the water out. Under high pressure, heat, and bacterial action gradually change the material to coal. Coal formation is a continuing process. Some of our newest coals are a million years old. And the most important element in the plant material is carbon, which gives coal most of its energy. So, coal mainly consists of carbon, and it also consists some metal compound and other bits. Types of coal. With the passage of time, as the decomposed remains sank deeper and deeper, they got exposed to more heat and pressure. And this drove the gaseous and fluid substances out from the remains. This increased their carbon content. So students, on the basis of amount of carbon content in it, coal can be classified into four main types. The higher the carbon content of coal, the bigger is its calorific value. So, first is lignite. It tends to be relatively young coal deposit which is not subjected to extreme heat and pressure. It is also low in carbon content, near about 60 to 70%, and hence produces low energy. It appears more like soil than rock and disintegrates when exposed to weather. It is high in moisture content. It is generally used at power plants to produce electricity. So, it is also called the brown coal. Second, bituminous coal or subbituminous coal. It is also called the domestic coal. It is the most commonly used coal. It is formed in greater depths. The heat produced by it is nearly 2 to 3 times more than lignite. It is also an important fuel for steel and iron industries. It is soft and black, and the amount of carbon content in it is about 70 to 85%. Another is peat. It is the first stage in the formation of coal. Peat is soft and easily compressed. It is composed mainly of marshland vegetation and is formed by the action of bacteria on these plants. It has the lowest carbon content. It is about 50 to 60%. Hence, its calorific value is low and it is considered an inferior type of coal. The last is anthracite. Form, it is formed very deep and also it is the best quality coal. It is hard, black and lustrous coal. The carbon content in it is the highest of all the varieties of coal. It is about 85 to 95%. Apart from carbon, coal contains some compounds of nitrogen and sulfur as well. Clear? Now, mining of coal. Coal mining is the process of extraction of coal from under the earth. The places where coal deposits are found are called coal mines. A coal mine and its accompanying structures are collectively known as a colliery. There are two ways to mine coal, that is, surface mining and underground mining. Now, coal. Coal is processed in industry to get some useful products such as coke, coal tar, and coal gas. Now, here it is coke. Coke is a tough, porous, and black substance. It is an almost pure form of carbon. Coke is used in the manufacture of steel and in the extraction of many metals. It is a solid carbonaceous residue derived from low ash, low sulfur bituminous coal. It is used as a fuel and as a reducing agent in smelting iron ore in a blast furnace. Okay. In processing of coal, the second product is coal tar. It is a black, thick liquid with an unpleasant smell. It is a mixture of about 200 substances. Products obtained from coal tar are used as starting materials for manufacturing various substances used in everyday life and in industry, like synthetic dyes, drugs, explosives, perfumes, plastic, paints, photographic materials, roofing materials, etc. Interestingly, naphthalene balls used to repel moths and other insects are also obtained from coal tar. Being flammable, coal tar is sometimes used for heating or to fire boilers. Clear? Now, some applications of coal, or we can say uses of coal. Coal is a low cost energy source and the mainstay of both the developed and developing world. It is not expensive to extract coal or to use it to produce electricity. It is the most important fuel in India, fulfilling over 65% of our energy needs. It is found in abundance. At the current rate of use, it will take at least 200 years to exhaust this resource. So, students, coal is used as a fuel, cooking, and in use of coke, ethanol production, as a coal tar. These are the uses of coal. Students, this is your classwork of Chapter 5, Coal and Petroleum. Let's move to the question and answers. Question 1. Describe how coal is formed from dead vegetation. What is this process called? As you know, students, coal is formed by the slow decomposition of forest woods that got buried under the earth's crust due to natural calamities. Heat and pressure over millions of years changed these plants to coal. Or we can say, dense forests got buried under the soil due to natural processes. Millions of years ago, more and more soil got deposited over them and they got compressed more. This led them to get exposed to a very high temperature and pressure. Slowly, they got converted into coal under these extreme conditions. And the whole process of formation of coal from dead vegetation is known as carbonization. Okay, now let's move to the question number 2. That is, describe the characteristics and uses of coal. The answer is, the characteristic of coal. Number 1, coke is tough. Second characteristic is, it is porous. And third, it is black in color. So these are the characteristics of coke. And uses of coke. Coke is used in the manufacture of steel and in the extraction of metals. Okay. Now question 3. Explain the process of the formation of petroleum. The answer is, petroleum, or we can say crude oil, is formed by the slow decomposition of marine plants and animals. Or in other words, we can say, dead organisms that were buried in the sea millions of years ago got covered with layers of sand and clay. Due to lack of air, high pressure, and high temperature, these dead organisms got transformed into petroleum and natural gas. Okay, now let's move your homework assignment of chapter Coal and Petroleum. Question first is true and false. First is, fossil fuel can be made in the laboratory. Is it true or false? Is it false? Fossil fuel cannot be made in the laboratory because they are formed from dead plants and animals which were fossilized millions of years ago. For example, coal, petroleum, natural gas are fossil fuel and it cannot be made in the laboratory. So the answer is false. Second, CNG is more polluting fuel than petrol? Again, the answer is false. CNG, compressed natural gas. It is a natural fuel that is comparatively clean and, and has high energy yielding capacity as compared to coal and petroleum. So, the answer is false because CNG is a clean fuel. It cannot cause any pollution. Third, coke is the almost pure form of carbon. The answer is true. Fourth, coal tar is a mixture of various substances. Yes. Is it true? Fifth, kerosene is not a fossil fuel. The answer is false because kerosene is a fossil fuel. Now, question second. Name the petroleum product used for surfacing of roads. The answer is bitumen. 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 Bitumen, it is the petroleum product that is used for surfacing roads. Clear, students? Now the last question of the homework assignment is keywords. Question 3, keywords. First is coal. Coal is a fossil fuel formed by the decay of vegetation which existed millions of years ago. Second keyword is coal gas. Coal gas is obtained as a byproduct during the processing of coal to form coal and is used as a fuel. Third, coal tar. It is a black thick liquid with an unpleasant smell obtained by the processing of coal. Fourth, fossil fuel. Dead remains of living organisms and buried over millions of years, like coal, petroleum, and natural gas, are fossil fuels. Fifth, natural gas. Natural gas is a very important fossil fuel and it is a cleaner fuel. Next, petroleum. It is a dark oily liquid with an unpleasant odor. And also it is a source of petrol and diesel. Last, petroleum refinery. Petroleum refinery is a place where the process of separating the various constituents of petroleum is carried out. Okay, students, hope you have to clear all the points.